The Grand National's the biggest jumps race in the whole world. It's watched by millions of people around the globe.
It's not racing, it's a British institution.
It was estimated that 500,000 people crowded Aintree.
The Grand National has iconic status because of its history.
This most testing of all races in the world.
And this looks like it, they're off.
Because of the challenge it presents.
Beaches Group had its usual crop of victims.
As fond as a right pile of mayhem.
Fairy tales and stories you'll always remember.
Lee Devonlock goes down.
Red Rum racing up towards the line.
Those guys were heroes.
Headhunter wins from Ruby Walsh.
It's Aldeniti and Bob Champion in the lead.
Tiger roll, seeing it out.
To finish, the national won by Tony McCoy.
Rachael Blackmore raises the bar.
It's the one race that every jockey would just love to win.
The most tremendous research.
The 2023 Grand National winning horse, Corach Rambler.
To win a Grand National, yes, you've got to be brilliant, you've got to be brave, you've also got to be lucky.
It requires tactics, pace.
You need luck on your side, definitely.
It's the most demanding test for horse and rider.
It sort of feels slightly chaotic, slightly hectic. Biggest challenges, obviously, the unique fences.
They say it's the only sport where you get followed around by an ambulance.
Crowd, expectation, prize money.
Over £1 million in prize money in total, £500,000 to the winner.
And I'd dearly love to win one.
Early morning here at Aintree on Grand National Day. It's eerily quiet ahead of this afternoon's sporting storm.
Yeah, we're all ready, our side. I'll just do one final check.
We have 6 million people that watch the Grand National.
Right, we're going green. Okay.
Yeah, all good for gates, thank you.
Everyone has a story about where they were when they watched their first National.
Gates are green. Gates are green.
There's no doubt that Aintree is Liverpool's celebration. If you've never been, Aintree should be on everybody's bucket list.
Hey, man. All right. Lovely and quiet at the moment. And then the jockeys arrive. They'll all be far too excited. And then they start off, go through the day, and then there's a bit of a gap between the fourth race and the actual national. It suddenly goes very quiet in here. They all start getting a bit nervous.
I've got 6,000 in my pocket there, and I think I could make every single one after. It's a race that everyone wants to win. Obviously, there's £1 million worth of prize money on offer.
The great thing about the Grand National, everyone has a chance.
So the Grand National is probably the most competitive race because there's no other race that has as many runners.
It's a handicap, so all the horses carry different weights according to their ability.
And the favourite is now I Am Maximus, not last year's winner, Corach Rambler. Number 5, I Am Maximus, 6-1. Gina Andrew is one of 3 amateurs in the races on Latenightpass, 25-1.
It hasn't just all been champion trainers who've won Grand Nationals, you know. There's been stories along the way of all sorts of different people winning the Grand National.
Tom Ellis with his first runner as a professional trainer, Latenightpass. Owned by his mother, ridden by his wife.
Good patch, Jess.
Grand National is by far the biggest opportunity that I've ever had. It's never been open to us before now.
Say 13 from the point, I'd have thought.
Tom Ellis is a champion trainer in the amateur ranks. Tom recently took out a professional licence.
What do you reckon? I'll go up another one?
The first race he's going to actually have a horse running happens to be the Grand National. It's crazy. It's one of those amazing stories.
Latenightpass was the first foal I ever bred. I'm very nervous because A, it's my horse and I want him safe. B, I want him to do well for Tom and the yard.
The wonderful thing about jump racing is that you can have a tiny trainer with a cheap horse up against the best.
All right, Gene. Like Latenightpass is basically like a Sunday league football player gonna run out in a cup final against Arsenal or something, you know. Like for us, that's literally
what is happening on Saturday. It's just bonkers, really.
We've had him obviously since the beginning. He was born here. He's part of the family. He's a real character.
Latenightpass is going to be ridden by his wife, Gina Andrews, but for her to ride a horse trained by her husband in the biggest jumps race in the world, this would most definitely be her most important ride.
Try not to think about it too much, too soon, too early. Yeah, I think horse racing is probably one of the very few sports where amateurs can compete against professional riders. Because I'm obviously an amateur, I don't get paid to ride, I don't earn any prize money out of any of the races. It's not about the money. For me, winning is everything.
Watch him. She is an amateur in her name only, but she's very professional in the way she approaches races. Her dedication, will to win, is beyond anything I've ever seen.
It's always been a bit of a dream to be able to ride in the Grand National. To get to do it on him is even better, because he's a special boy.
Tom Ellis and Gina Andrews are an amazing couple.
Gina and I got married in 2015. We got talking because there was a delay to the race for whatever reason. And I thought to myself on the way home, oh, she's quite a nice girl. One thing led to another, and love at first sight for me, probably.
Tom's pretty laid back most of the time, but I think he does get quite nervous to watch the races because, like, once you get on, it's obviously totally out of his control.
So the Grand National is a unique test of a horse. They need stamina, ability, and the ability to jump really, really well. And he's got all three of those. We might train horses for another 100 years and we'd never get another one. So when that opportunity comes, you've got to take it. You're going there as the underdog, there's no doubt about it. For us, we've the potential to write the biggest headlines of all. Little boy. Right.
When you compare Tom's yard, who's got 60 amateur horses in it, to the likes of Dan Skelton and Willie Mullins, who've got hundreds each, this really is a David versus Goliath story.
All good. If you're good, I'm happy.
So we know that Willie Mullins is the King of Cheltenham. This year was an amazing milestone to win his 100th Cheltenham Festival race.
We're in the mix, in the top three in the Trainers' Championship.
So the champion trainers title is a three-way fight at the moment.
Dan Skelton and Paul Nichols are going to be hard to catch, but we're going to give it our best shot.
He knows he's got to bring his A game to Aintree.
If we can win the Grand National, the prize money there would put us just about on top, and then it's all to play for.
Yeah, we'll see you on the parade ring. Yeah.
Willie Mullins has been champion trainer in Ireland, but never in this country. And Willie Mullins will be desperate to make history and become the first Irishman to do it for 70 years.
The Grand National is a very difficult race to win.
He goes for home! The last time Willie Mullins won the Grand National was in 2005. Hedge Hunter in the Trevor Hemmings colours, brilliantly ridden by Ruby Walsh.
Hedge Hunter is a winning favourite!
It will probably bug him not to have won the race more than he has.
It's going to take a miracle winning the Grand National. That's what we need.
Good.
So we're sending one of our biggest teams ever to the Grand National this year.
$500,000 to the winner. So Willie Mullins is throwing as much at it as he can. He's going to run more than one, more than two, more than 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the Grand National.
We have a lot of them going, so everyone has a life chance in their own way, I'd say so. We have Mr. Incredible here. Then we have Statler on this side. Meetings of the Waters here. I have Maximus here.
Did he eat his brekkie?
Yeah, well, yeah.
He looks happy out.
And Janadil beside him. We have Adam Lee Chosen. And Capadano. And the last one is Glenn Gooley. Hopefully one of them can produce it.
Will you be nervous now?
No, not really, I'd say. Probably will be leading around, all right.
Yeah.
Willie has a lot of firepower in this year's Grand National, so this is going to be very hard for Dan Skelton to keep his top spot in the Trainers' Championship.
You look for about an hour from now, you'll be well ahead in the Trainers' Championship, won't you?
We win the 4 o'clock, we're fine. we won't have to put up with any more talk about it if we won that one, but that's a big ask.
It's going to be hard to keep him out of the prize money. Very, very hard.
Oh, the world's greatest race. 3 hours, the countdown very much and truly on.
The crowds are building, you can see the anticipation, the excitement.
These are the saddling boxes where all the horses get ready, and you can imagine the logistical nightmare for Willie Mullins to get 8 horses ready for the Grand National. How many people have you got saddling?
I don't know, you better ask Ben. Ben, how many have you got saddling?
About 6 in saddle.
We've got 6 saddled already.
With 8 horses in the race, each one of these horses gives Willie a great chance of some good prize money. But Gallop de la Toe is the only horse in this race trained by Dan Skelton.
This is Gallop de la Toe. We could just call her Gail at home, though. I'm all right now. Once I let her go and she's off, then I will be really nervous. I probably won't watch the first few jumps until I know she's got round.
Her preparation's been very good. She hasn't got the fancy profile of some of the favourites.
When you're at the Grand National and you're looking at your nearest rival, Willie Mullins, and yet you've only got one horse, although he's got a good chance, as much as so many other horses do, it's daunting. It's a daunting prospect.
But I'm feeling good, you know, especially with my brother, Harry, riding.
It's been tipped up in the paper anyway. Obviously, a few people fancy her, so yeah, she'll have a chance, hopefully. Looking forward to it.
He does everything on the bridle, that horse. Do you know what I mean? So just let him roll on the edge of the bit.
Harry's one of the best jump jockeys there's ever been. His strength in a finish, his bravery, he's very, very good.
Taking part in the Grand National is a great privilege. I've had good rides in it before. Best I finished is 5th, but you'd love to win a Grand National.
What do you want here, Harry? Done that in there?
Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton, they're very meticulous with the preparation they put into each race.
What are you going to do there? Bar and smooth that. Me and Dan work together well. We have respect for each other, and I think it's a great working relationship.
We've been working together for so long, I know how he's thinking and he knows how I'm thinking. We can say anything we want to each other.
They speak to each other with a frankness that in a lot of families would cause a row, but no one ever holds it against each other. They die for each other. They are a real unit.
Thought that went very well.
He's very more relaxed.
Yeah.
He's quite fresh 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think that's what's the best thing. You can go over the line and really ask a question that maybe you couldn't ask another trainer.
We just know how to work together, we know how to get results, we know how to do our best. I'm looking forward to the Grand National, but Willie having 8 runners is a massive disadvantage to us.
Yeah, if he wins the National then.
Yeah, that is going to spoil it.
We'll have to blockade the ferry port.
Piercy, you can do that.
Yeah, that's your job.
Send, yeah.
You can be in charge of sabotage.
Yeah.
You can be on the sabotage department. Yeah. If Willie wins it this year, that catapults him basically to the head of the standings. And I'd say if he gets the head of them, he's going to be very hard to pass.
Less than 2 hours away from the Grand National. And part of the test for the horses is the atmosphere here. It is crackling.
The world's greatest steeplechase, and the crowd queuing orderly to have a bet on the National. Latenightpass, Gina Andrews, one of 3 amateurs.
So much stuff to watch, like.
I know,
there's so much kind of stories, isn't there? Like,
yeah, literally.
Everyone has a story.
One of the biggest selling points about horse racing is the fact that men and women compete on a level playing field. And we have got some sensational jockeys.
You've got Gina riding in her first ever Grand National as an amateur. And you've got Rachael Blackmore, one of the greatest jockeys of all time.
Rachael Blackmore made history. She was the first female jockey to ever win the Grand National.
Balco de Flo and Rachael Blackmore, history in the National, Minella Times wins.
I don't
I don't feel male, female right now. I don't even feel human. This is just unbelievable. To win the Grand National again would be incredible. You know, when you've tasted what it feels like to do it, yeah, you just want to try and do that again.
I think Rachael Blackmore, it's fair to say, is the biggest name in horse racing.
It's a privilege to be that person when you've got kids coming up to you and they want to say hello and you're hoping you remain the person that they believe you are. All female riders need to be inspired by Rachael Blackmore. Like, she's achieved more than anyone else has ever done and probably ever will. As a child, the Grand National was the first race I ever watched, and it just completely captivated my imagination. I think growing up on a farm, I was also very lucky that I never had to ask for a pony. There was just one there. Winning the Grand National is just something I never thought that would ever happen. Mentally, it's a very challenging sport. It's very demanding. You put pressure on yourself. I think you have to succeed.
She transcends the sport now. From what she's achieved in the saddle, she's made history.
Rachael Blackmore, she's riding Minella Indo, who is a previous Gold Cup winner.
The class horse in the field. The question against him is his age catching up with him. Does he still retain all that ability?
He loves his routine at home, you know, he loves going into the, eat what you've got, don't be greedy. He loves going into the shed and having a roll, and he rolled on the track this morning. So if he carries on behaving like that in Aintree, they might throw us out. I suppose everybody here today would love to win it, but only one horse can.
34 runners in this year's Grand National. A horse with a huge chance is last year's winner, Corach Rambler.
They're going to win it with Corach Rambler!
I'm the youngest ever winning owner of the Grand National. When I got involved with Corach Rambler, I was 19 years old in my second year of university. He only cost £17,000. I probably shouldn't have bought a £4,000 share as a student, but really when the idea comes up, you just kind of think, oh, go on then.
I'm sure it's part of his student loan. He's just lived the dream.
Corach Rambler has earned the syndicate over £750,000 in winnings.
The Grand National changed my life. The minute he crossed the line in first, all of a sudden you're propelled into this world of media and you're surrounded by cameras.
It's just a shame that I peaked too early. I mean, it's never gonna be anything like this again.
There is a large Scottish contingent hoping to see Corach Rambler win again.
To win it all, Corach Rambler all the way.
So if we all kept the same routine as we did last year. Are you wearing the same thing that last year? Of course. I wear the same pair of lucky pants. I have watched them.
I haven't watched mine.
No.
I've kept them sitting there for a year.
Yeah, they're very important, the lucky pants. I have to have two sets, actually. One to wash, one to wear.
Whatever she touches seems to turn to gold.
When we train Corach for the National, we're training him to win the National. We're not training him to take part or to make up a number or have a social day out or, isn't that wonderful, we've got a runner in the National. I want to win it. I always said it was his chance to be in history.
Red Rum won back-to-back wins in 1973 and 1974. It's exactly what Corach Rambler is aiming to do this year.
They've got two-time Grand National winning jockey Derek Fox in the saddle.
Derek's amazing. I couldn't have a better man on Corach Rambler to go around the Grand National.
Hopefully you're not nervous before the race, but you're excited and looking forward to it. You know, there's always pressure, but I think it's it's only natural.
What will be going through their heads? Derek Fox, 4 or 5 to 1 favourite in the Grand National. That's expectation. That's pressure.
And the favourite is now I Am Maximus, not last year's winner, Corach Rambler.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the champion of Ireland, Willie Mullins. You've seen your horses today now. Which horse do you like the look of here in the paddock best of yours?
I think I Am Maximus is in great form, so we've got to go with him the whole way, I think.
The trainer's title is very much up for grabs. The National play a key part of that if either Dan Skelton or Willie Mullins has a good day.
You got Gallop de Lito in the big one. Can you win the Grand National?
I think she can win. I think there's more fancied horses at shorter prices, and you don't need me to explain that, but I don't think there's many things that she doesn't do that you need to win a national.
Of course, competition-wise, the Grand National is going to be tough. So we have to put up a fight to do it.
Oh, come on, come on.
The one thing we can guarantee is 10 minutes of thrilling sports. What does the Aintree script have in store for us this year? We're about to find out.
Half an hour to the race now.
Yeah, I say we've got victory.
Sort of get in the zone then as such, and your sort of mindset on what you've got to do, but sitting, waiting around beforehand is the worst bit about it.
Just to remind you, if you do take a fall, please come back to the medical room, because you need to have your concussion screen down there.
As a jump jockey, you need to understand the danger. Obviously not let it overpower you or get inside your head too much.
That's how you look at the positives, isn't it?
You obviously need a very, very tough horse. You've got to give it a good ride. You know, it's 4 miles of big fences. You need a brave horse. You've just got to do your normal routine. I don't think there's anything you can do extra or added to make you ride better.
Just got to get over them first 5 seconds.
You're tense, but you're excited as well.
If you're slightly on the scared aspect, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Try that back out there. Try that back out there. Hang on, there's another back out there.
I'd feel under pressure. Quite a surreal sort of feeling and atmosphere, really.
The tension around the place is massive. You can tell it's a big deal.
As always, stories galore in the National. We see a family fairy tale with Latenightpass. Tom Ellis with his first runner as a professional trainer, owned by his mum.
I'm holding it together.
I can tell.
I should have bought a hip flask. I am a very nervous spectator. It doesn't matter what it is, I'm very nervous. This is the time I needed a little...
George, you've one job to do here.
Shut up and get me a whiskey.
Are you watching?
Look, mate.
Good man. It's much fun.
Tom Ellis, my best friend.
How's your mum doing?
She's all right, mate.
That's it.
Pippa, Thomas's mother, basically used to look after me probably 3 nights of the week when we were at school together.
Used to get into a lot of trouble, the pair of them.
We used to come back lunchtimes from school and ride the horses we had in training at the time and go back to school if we felt like it. But he's been a good mate for a long time.
They're all great mates, and Harry and Dan and Tom and Gina are all thick as thieves. You've also got Gina's sister, who is married to Harry Skelton.
Harry? She is. All right. My sister-in-law, Gina Andrews, she's riding in the race. Yeah, I suppose she's a competitor. You all want to beat each other. Come on, everyone. Come on, Stanners. Join in. Come on, Jack.
For me,
Quick.
knowing what it means to Gina, how could you not get emotional? It's literally her whole life's worth of work culminating in one race, and that's all she's ever wanted. It's great. Just get behind, if you're going to get behind something that you trust, all right? And just take your time. And most of all, just have a fucking great time.
Please, I really mean that. Just enjoy it.
Let's go.
If I was Tom Ellis, yes, I'd love to win. But I think priority was everyone, especially his wife, to come back safe and sound.
Enjoy yourself, darling.
I've been asked a lot how I deal with Gina riding horses. I guess the answer to that is it's something I've got used to. It's a hard thing to watch, of course, because you know the dangers of it. There was a horrendous time during COVID, and She had a really bad fall at Cheltenham, like a horrific fall.
Right there, Marlborough Sounds back in fourth and Clemencia over the last half a piece, got it wrong and has come down, and Nordic Combined was almost brought down. Lively Citizens now been left.
Makes me feel weird thinking about it now, but like she basically got knocked out. Sorry, I'm getting a bit upset, but the first time I saw her I was in hospital that day, and I went and I couldn't get in. And it was like walking into a war zone. It was absolutely horrific. I cried all the way home. It was bad, really bad, but you just hope like nothing like that happens, really, because that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah, I had a fractured cheekbone, eye socket, lacerated liver, and I've got metal eye socket and cheekbone now. Yeah, so hopefully you can't really notice. It's this one. Yeah.
She wasn't long before she was back on a horse. They're mad. They are mad.
Go and enjoy it.
Best luck.
I know you won't enjoy it, but try to.
It is probably more pressure than I've ever felt before.
We've been really good at what we've been doing in the amateur ranks, but all of a sudden, we've got to take on the very best.
There'll be plenty of envy for the fact that Willie Mullins has got 8 horses good enough to run in a Grand National, which is pretty much a quarter of the field.
Willie Mullins is throwing everything at the Grand National this year. It's a race he loves.
First time I watched the Grand National was probably 4 or 5 years of age on an old black and white TV, and I was just mesmerised by the race, captured by it. And it's the race I think people in racing want to win.
And Willie Mullins was fairly keen on I Am Maximus when we spoke to him yesterday.
Paul Townsend rides I Am Maximus.
I Am Maximus won the Irish Grand National last year. If he can get into rhythm, he'll have a huge chance.
I fancy Mr. Incredible, but then you don't know whether he's going to start well. My son Patrick rides Statler.
Statler's won at the Cheltenham Festival before.
I was going to hunt away for a slap, let him enjoy himself.
Yeah.
If we could win the Grand National, it'd be something you'd be very, very proud of.
You're right for tickets, because I couldn't get any badges to get in here because I haven't got a Grand National runner.
Paul Nicholls didn't enter any horses, but one of his favourite jockeys, Harry Cobden, rides for a different trainer.
I ride Noble Yates.
Top weight Noble Yates, he knows what it takes to win a national. Can he do a red rum and regain it a couple of years later?
Dan's got Gallia Delitto. So if Dan wins it, that would basically guarantee him the Trainers' Championship.
Winning the Grand National is obviously the most important thing, but the prize money might make or break your season.
But it's the Grand National. Anyone can win the Grand National. You don't go out there expecting to win the Grand National.
Rachael Blackmore, she's riding Minella Indo. He still possesses a bit of ability. Exactly how much, it's doubtful whether it's still up there with his Gold Cup winning ability.
He's quite unassuming. You know, you'd see him out in the field and you wouldn't think he's the athlete that he is.
Lucinda Russell's also trying to win back-to-back Grand Nationals with Corach Rambler.
Is it greedy to try and win again the year after you've won it? I don't know.
Corach Rambler, trained by Lucinda Russell. He's 10 years of age. He's ridden by Derek Fox.
I get very nervous for those 6-7 minutes that a race is on. Nothing else matters in the world. It's this race and this race only.
So here we go, the spectacular stage, set for the next chapter in the world's most famous horse race. It's about to unfold, the 176th running of the Randox Grand National.
So the runners are arriving, the 32 of them.
This is absolutely massive for these jockeys. Really, really nerve-wracking.
Number 29 is Glengooley, an outsider for Willie Mullins. Mr. Incredible has been Mr. Naughty in the past. Let's hope he starts.
The Grand National start, it's right in front of the stand, so it's a cauldron of atmosphere. People are there for a good time. They've had a few drinks to stage. It's 4 o'clock. There's massive electricity in the air.
You can't win a race at the start, but you can lose it. The Grand National is no different. You want to jump off and get a good position.
Hi, lads.
Everyone wants to get away well, get over the first fence.
Hard! Lads, for fuck's sake!
It's quite hard to describe. It sort of feels slightly chaotic, slightly hectic. You're full of adrenaline and you just want to get on with it.
As they line up at the start, I'm trying to pick all our horses, remember which cap is on which horse. I'm trying to keep one eye on Mr. Incredible because he might not start. I'm trying to keep one eye on my son Patrick riding Statler because he's my son, and you want to make sure that he gets around safe and sound.
32 runners lining up in a line. It's a good buzz.
So they'll move forward, then they will be brought to a stop. Keep everything crossed.
Glenn Gooley was a little bit ahead of them.
Our own horse, Glenn Gooley, bolted when they were called in, which I'm livid with.
Glenn Gooley's making life difficult, and a delay start is not going to suit Mr. Incredible.
We have to stand. Keep walking till you get up to the marker poles. Wait.
It's a unique race, this. Normal rules do not apply to this race. You know, there's so much that can happen.
He's let them go, so we're off at racing point.
Mr. Incredible was thinking about it, and he was very slowly away.
Fan racing in the Randox Grand National of 2024, heading towards the first of 30 fences. Corach Rambler is up there.
To win a Grand National twice is beyond my wildest dreams.
For Corach Rambler to be a 2-time Grand National winner would just be perfect.
I give him every chance to win.
My tactics will be hopefully to do something similar than I done last year.
Get up and down. He goes towards that first fence and he's almost going too quick.
The leader was Glenn Gooley as they went over the first, and Corach Rambler has unseated his rider.
Disaster at the first fence, especially for those of us who were supporting Corach Rambler, unseated Derek Fox, so his chance gone.
It was just very quick, very fast, and I was just shot right out the side of him. You just hit the ground and roll up as small as you can, really, so you hopefully don't get kicked or anything.
And last year's winner out of the race at the first this time.
It is hard to watch. The first thing that comes into your head is, please tell me he's okay.
It's one of those things that happens. It wasn't the right race for him on the day. We'll learn from it, and Corach won't be running around the Aintree fences again.
The race is suddenly thrown wide open.
Closing down and on Beaches, first of the real iconic fences in the National, and it's Glenn Gooley.
You're letting the race unfold around you. I don't think you can panic too much.
Just try and find your own bit of room. Give yourself a bit of space. Get in your own little bubble.
Their way towards Foynaven, led by Glenn Gooley. Latenightpass is out wide.
Come on, Gene.
Glenn Gooley leads them towards the canal turn.
Willie having 8 runners, our backs against the wall, really. We need something to happen for us.
What's sake?
First picked up my son Patrick, and he's near the back. I'd rather he wasn't, but it's where he is.
Statler is last of those still going, a long way behind Noble Yates.
I've ridden him out the back in order to try get him to just get into a rhythm, enjoy himself.
They clear out over Valentine, Statler being pulled up.
It was clear he wasn't going to be able to run to his best of his ability, so for his health and for mine, I thought the best plan of action was to pull up.
At least he was safe and sound.
Minella Indo and then Delta Work. He's been followed on the inside by I Am Maximus.
Willie Mullins is down to 7 runners.
As they go over the next fence, and Glenn Gooley's the leader.
My eye keeps being drawn back to Paul, and I Am Maximus.
Glenn Gooley out in the lead from Latenightpass, Minella Crooner towards the inside, Foxy Jack's Eldorado as we reach the chair.
I Am Maximus just rubs the top of the chair.
I thought I Am Maximus was going to disappear out from under Paul's knees.
Oh, the whole field were nearly over, and then right at the back, the 2 that came down were Mr. Incredible and Marla's Mission.
Mullins is down to 6. It's a big blow for him.
Setting out on this final circuit.
And you're thinking, Christ, that's a fancied runner gone. All the time, you're hoping it's only helping.
They go over the Fortnum home, which is the final open ditch at which Glenn Gooley has unseated the rider.
This leaves 5 horses remaining for Willie Mullins.
So 3 more fences to take with Latenightpass towards the outside. On the
We're in front at this point, or very near to it. I couldn't believe how well he was still going. A bit keen, you know. Like, he is tanking along still, in front. And I'm like, oh my good God. Like, how can this be happening? Simon and Dad was watching with me and he just burst into tears. And yeah, very magical.
Latenightpass still well up there in the red and white. Also, Gallop with those yellow sleeves.
And then by the time we got to Melling Road the second time, I'm basically upsides in front with Harry.
Both couldn't believe we were the Grand National upsides, and definitely, yeah, want to beat each other.
They're both up there, side by side. I mean, brother and sister-in-law, that was pretty special, wasn't it?
They're racing towards the final open ditch, fence number 27.
2 out, Harry front with Gina, which is quite remarkable, really.
And it's Gina Andrews on board Latenightpass with a narrow lead to Gallop de Lito and Harry Skelton.
I'm thinking, oh my good God, there is a chance here. Like, we could live out the ultimate dream. There's every emotion running through your veins.
Come on, Gene! Come on, Gina! And you're thinking, right, well, I've got a good chance of winning the Grand National.
He's run fucking well.
Inside the final half mile, and it's Latenightpass on the outside. On the inner, it's Gallop de Lito.
This year, the Grand National is probably more important than it's ever been in a Trainers' Championship.
We need to win to have a chance of winning the championship.
The white cap on the inside of I Am Maximus.
As the race progressed, I was happy with what horse we left in the field.
I can see Gina Andrews on my outside, still going well. At this stage, you're just in your own head. You know, you still have to jump the last 2.
They're approaching the second last in the National. Gallop de Lito in company with Latenightpass.
I don't get too animated during races. I can't change the outcome, but it's not over till you cross the line.
Latenightpass begins to back out of it.
I could see there, stood watching that the petrol gauge was running low.
I couldn't go any faster, but after that I felt like, right, it's down to you now to keep running to the line.
Towards the last in the National, Minella Indo and Delta Work are the leaders.
You hope they keep going, but you know in your heart of hearts, like, the tank's empty.
Gallop de Lito inside of Minella Indo.
I just knew here that we didn't have the stamina to win.
Every place that Gallop de Lito falls back means less prize money for Dan Skelton in his bid to become champion trainer.
Latenightpass, then towards the inside, I Am Maximus.
You can't play your cards too soon because it's such a long run in Aintree.
Minella Indo has the lead from Delta Work.
It's a brilliant feeling when your horse gets into a good rhythm and you turn for home.
She hits the front, and I'm thinking Rachael Blackmore is winning the Grand National again.
Just a slight thought in my head is, you know, is this going to happen again?
Then all of a sudden, I Am Maximus hits the turbo.
In third place and written along is I Am Maximus, who's now out after the leader. I Am Maximus for Paul Townend, goes past Minella Indo.
I blinked once and the green and gold of I Am Maximus, and Paul just shot past me. I feel like I didn't even get into a battle with him. He was just there and gone. Paul just sprinted away.
He finds that gap that he's looking for. He's got the horsepower underneath him. And at this stage, I'm losing my head in the stands. I'm just shouting and roaring for Paul.
But up towards the line, it is I Am Maximus who leads home for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins. Second, Minella Indo, then Galvin Kitty's Light.
At the start of your career, if someone said, which race would you like to win? I'd like to win the Grand National. But it's the race I think most people in racing want to win.
I Am Maximus came home to win, eventually pretty decisively.
It's £500,000 to the winner alone, so you can make up a lot of ground in the championship.
Tell you what, I mean, there were so many different people who thought they had it at the last, and you just swept past.
Yeah, the ones in front of me, I'm sure they weren't looking for me, but I had them well in my sights, and I was hoping that he'd respond like I thought he would.
I'm immensely proud of Gina. All I wanted to do is get to the horse and Gina and make sure everything was okay.
Can you get back in this way?
He's ran a blinder, like we finished 12th. For us, like, it's obviously a massive thing. There's a sense of achievement that you've gone there and not shown yourself up, I guess, and deserved your place.
Gallop de Lito and finishes 8th, runs really, really well. We pick up prize money, which is good.
Enjoy it.
I did love it.
But they actually quickened, didn't they?
Yeah.
They just quickened over.
Yeah,
I can see it. I was a bit the same.
I did enjoy myself a lot. Perhaps too much.
Something that'll always, stay with us forever, really, as family, and tell the kids one day, probably.
I just enjoy race riding, and to be able to partake in the greatest race in the world is like an honour. I'd do it again and again and again if I could.
Noble Yates, ridden by Harry Cobden, comes in 19.
Obviously disappointed, but I'm still in with a chance of winning at the Jockeys Championship.
Maximus has run away with that race in the end.
Yes, I mean, I'm never sure how good this horse was. He's unremarkable. If you saw him out in the field, you wouldn't pass any remark. But he's obviously got an engine.
And what does it mean to you, this success?
Fantastic. It's a special race to win. You know, it puts us right up there with a chance for the English title.
The kudos of being able to emulate one of the all-time greats of the sport and win that British Championship is not lost on Willie Mullins. So it's huge, huge, huge for him and for Irish racing.
Unbelievable, to be honest. Feeling I didn't really ever feel before. It's unbelievable.
I was lucky enough to have won the Grand National twice. The first time was the important one, but the second time was lovely.
Hey, will you win the championship now, isn't he?
He's ahead there.
He's ahead?
Yeah.
No way.
Fuck off.
Already?
Yeah. 500,000 from Town and 20,000 from me.
Oh, it's all over, isn't it? See you in here, guys. On Sundown.
On the big occasion, Willie Mullins is a winning machine. He's won at 500 grand in prize money.
You've done it, you're in front already.
Are we? Yeah, I was wondering where.
I think that's put you just in front. So.
I think we have to go for it now, yeah. I mean, it's game on, I think, isn't it?
It's taken Willie to the top of the championship, which is not a great place to have him, to be honest with you, because he has the firepower to defend.
It makes the last 2 weeks of the season really nail-biting and exciting for Dan Skelton, who now has the arduous task to find good horses to take on Willie Mullins.
Willie winning the Grand National, putting him in front, is a problem, but we're certainly not beat yet. We're going to give it what we can.
We're home from Aintree. We've done the impossible, won the National. All our horses travel home safe and sound.
Yeah, this is the groom's trophy for the Grand National, so I got when I Maximus won. Yeah, it's class to see like him go do it on a big stage like that.
Which puts us in the right position to maybe win the first British Championship for an Irish trainer in 70 years, I think it is. We're starting to believe now, but we've just got to nail it down. Our plan for the remainder of the season, we're just going to keep bringing horses to whatever meetings we think they can win at.
2 weeks ago of the season, every race is suddenly critical.
It's the Tour of Britain at this stage.